Hello, friends.
The Bears are who we thought they were.
The Bears. The Bears.
I am the great Cornholio.
We'll see what happens.
Playoffs?
Seton Hall. Sean McDonough, Jay Billis. Goats.
Can you play a song? Something cool. Put my mic on!
I'm calling both games.
Oh, baby!
Are you serious?
Goes down the field for Smith.
Oh, he got it!
Seattle. We're getting ready for Cincinnati.
So, Antonio Brown, you know we cannot forget to talk about Antonio Brown, because not only did he have the whole thing with the fake COVID card, which I've talked about earlier, I talked about that when that all happened, but he did something, and I believe this was over break, where he if you missed it, I'll be rather blunt about it, and you can look it up later, but he essentially took his clothes off and left the game. Yes, he took his jersey off, and he just decided that was it. He was done for the day, so took his shirt off and left the game. So, I mean, one of the more interesting ways to end a tenure with a team, but nonetheless, he's done with the Buccaneers, and he announced recently who he wants to play for. And I'm not for it by any means. And I think teams really need to learn from Tampa Bay and New England, because they need to stop signing Antonio Brown. Like, stop signing this clown. Enough. No, like, stop giving this guy chances. He's had a second chance. He's had a third chance. He's had a fourth chance. And he's burned the bridge every single time. Like, when do we reach a point where teams realize it's not a good idea to sign Antonio Brown? When do we get to a point where we realize, yeah, he may be talented, but I don't want to deal with all the baggage that comes with it? Like, at some point, teams got to have the wherewithal to be like, no, I don't want Antonio Brown. No, like, no. Because, like, and you know, the whole Antonio Brown situation, like some of the stuff is like, sure, like, it's funny or whatever, but to be like serious, if he couldn't last under Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and then with Tom Brady and Bruce Arians, why should any other team expect him to be able to work with their team, right? Why should any other team expect that he's going to be a good fit for their team? Like, I'm sorry, but if the best coach of all time, Bill Belichick, and the best quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, like, if it didn't work with those guys, it's probably not going to work with any other team. I'm sorry. But and just for those that, like, kind of don't know everything, there's a full timeline. Here we go. Like, let me just reset this for you if you're really unsure as to what you're talking about. Like, you're saying, oh, it's only a few incidents. No, not really. So, going all the way back 4 years, well, technically 3 years, like, it hasn't been a full 4 years, but going back to December of 2018, back when he was with the Steelers, there was a heated exchange between him and Ben Roethlisberger during a Wednesday practice. It escalated to the point where Antonio Brown threw a football at Ben Roethlisberger. He then skipped the remaining practices leading up to the Steelers' Week 17 game against the Bengals, in which he ultimately was benched for that game. It also turned out to be the end of his tenure with Pittsburgh. February of 2019, meeting with Art Rooney. Brown met with Steelers owner Art Rooney II, and both sides agreed that they should part ways. March 2019, Antonio Brown was traded to the Raiders, meaning that his era in Pittsburgh officially came to an end, and the Steelers traded him to the Raiders in exchange for a 3rd and 5th round pick. July of 2019, the Raiders placed Antonio Brown on the non-football injury list because of frostbite from cryotherapy. I believe I pronounced that right. And so the bottom of his feet, which, yeah, if you really want to know more about it and you want to look it up, go ahead. I strongly advise against it. They were severely frostbitten after he entered a cryotherapy machine wearing improper footwear. He was then sent to a foot specialist to determine the extent of the damage. So this was July, right? Like, think about how crazy this sounds. He threw a football at Big Ben in practice. He got benched. Then he got traded that offseason. And then before he even played any games with his new team, he got frostbite on the bottom of his feet in the middle of July. That just sounds crazy in of itself. So that takes us to August of 2019, where that's the start of OTAs. And so, for those of you that pay like real close attention to football, you might notice that like the helmets that guys are wearing nowadays are like super different than the helmets that we've seen guys wear in like 2005. Like the helmet that Patrick Mahomes is wearing is like nowhere, doesn't look anything like the helmet that Brett Favre wore with the Packers. And so every now and then the NFL will issue like a new policy for helmets. And so that year, the NFL issued a new helmet policy that made the helmet that Antonio Brown wore for his career, like it wasn't. I don't want to say it was unwearable because like you could still put it on, right? But it was like it didn't fit the bill, I guess you could say. Like it wasn't an accepted helmet. And basically what they do is they're always making new helmets to better protect against concussions and things like that. So Antonio Brown was, yes, this is going to sound silly, but he was infuriated about the new helmet that he was given. And he got into an argument, and he got into a real big argument with Raiders coaches at OTAs about the helmet issue. He even tried to sneak in his old repainted helmet into practice, which the Raiders, of course, caught. And this situation, according to a report from the NFL Network at the time, was part of what started the unhappiness with Antonio Brown and the Raiders. This ultimately led to Antonio Brown staying away from team facilities, all because he didn't like what helmet they gave him. Just think of how silly that sounds. And then September 7th, 2019, only about, less than a season didn't even really start, or it started, but he didn't even play any games. Less than a year later, he's released. He never played any games with the Raiders, and they released him after he shared an Instagram post asking for his release from the team following the Raiders voiding the guarantees in his contract. And what that means is they fined him over $200,000 for, quote, conduct detrimental to the team after an altercation with general manager Mike Mayock. So just a little bit of a timeout here. He throws a football at Ben Roethlisberger in practice because he's unhappy about something. He then gets traded. He gets benched. Then he gets traded. Then he gets frostbite on his feet in the middle of July in Oakland. Then he throws a fit about a helmet. And then he gets traded after he didn't have the respect to go to the owner and the general manager in person and say, I would like a trade. I don't think this is going to work. He resorted to putting a video on Instagram to ask for his release from the team. Some weird stuff, right? September 9th, 2019. 2 days after he was released from the Raiders, he signs with the New England Patriots. At the time, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick were still, that was still the duo in New England. And then a day after that, this thing kind of lasted 5 days. From September 10th to the 15th, Antonio Brown was accused of sexual assault by his ex-trainer, and the situation surrounding him took a real big turn after a lawsuit was filed by his ex-trainer. It claimed that Antonio Brown sexually assaulted her on multiple occasions over the last 3 years. The ex-trainer, Brittany Taylor, attended Central Michigan at the same time as Antonio Brown and filed a lawsuit saying that Antonio Brown assaulted her on 3 separate occasions from June of 2017 through May of 2018. And at the time, Antonio Brown released a statement that denied all allegations in the lawsuit. And then the Patriots released a statement as well saying that they take the accusations serious and that the NFL plan to investigate further all that stuff that they always say whether they mean it or not. And so things continue to snowball for Antonio Brown, and we're not even into 2020 yet. September 20th of 2019, less than 2 weeks after he was signed by the Patriots, he is released from the Patriots. He played a game. He played Week 2 against the Miami Dolphins of that season, but just days after, a report from Sports Illustrated revealed another incident of sexual misconduct involving Antonio Brown. I mean, this seems to be getting out of hand, right? And this isn't even, not even into 2020 just yet. The Patriots released Antonio Brown right after the accusations from Sports Illustrated report emerged, and he didn't play. He didn't play again that year. We are finally into 2020, and he is charged with felony burglary. He was charged with a felony charge of burglary and battery after an incident with a moving truck driver in Florida. Later on that year, June 2020, Brown pleaded no contest to the charges and received 2 years of probation. He was also ordered to undergo a psychological evaluation and follow-up treatment, attend an anger management course, perform 100 hours of community service, and follow a stay-away order from the truck driver and the moving company owner. That is some crazy stuff. July of 2020, he suspended 8 games for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy, coming after the sexual assault misconduct deal and then the battery, burglary, felonies thing. So that takes us to October of 2020, and for whatever reason, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers think it's a good idea to give him another shot. So that brings Antonio Brown back on the same team with Tom Brady. And then May 2021, after a whole year of things going well, he re-signs with the Buccaneers after helping the Buccaneers win the Super Bowl that year. They re-signed with Tampa Bay on a 1-year deal worth $3.1 million with incentives. Then we have December of 2021, where Antonio Brown is suspended for lying about his vaccination status. He received a 3-game suspension from the NFL after misrepresenting his vaccination status to the NFL and the NFL Players Association. The league and players union found that Brown was one of 3 players that misrepresented their status by way of using a fake vaccination card. And then, of course, in January of 2022, he has a sideline dispute with the coaches and teammates, takes off his uniform and his equipment and pads, and runs off the field during the game against the New York Jets. After the game, head coach Bruce Arians says Antonio Brown is no longer a Buc. So, just to recap, he throws a football at Ben Roethlisberger in practice because he was upset about something. Then he gets benched. Then he gets traded to the Raiders. He gets frostbite in his feet for not doing things the right way in the middle of July in Oakland, California. And then he whines and complains about the helmet, that he can't wear the helmet that he's worn his entire career. And for whatever reason, he got angry at the Raiders for the helmet thing. That's not something the Raiders decide. It wasn't like the Raiders got together and were like, yeah, the helmet that Antonio Brown wears specifically is not allowed anymore. Like this was an NFL thing. It wasn't just like, it wasn't like the Raiders was like, yeah, we're not going to allow you to wear that helmet anymore. But for whatever reason, he got mad at the Raiders for that. Okay, whatever. You do your thing, man. He demands a trade from the Raiders after not even playing any games, after refusing to go to practice. He gets traded to the Patriots, where he lasts less than a month. He gets accused of sexual assault. He then gets another sexual misconduct thing accused, another accusation, and then he has that thing with the truck driver, the moving truck driver, and then he lies about his vaccine card, and then he takes his clothes off and leaves the game. And now, people aren't blinking an eye at this guy. People aren't looking at all that and saying, yeah, no, I don't want him on my team. To be honest with you, there are people out there that are like, yes, I want Antonio Brown on my team. And I know that may sound like a joke. That may sound ridiculous, and I agree with you. But he posted a picture this past week of him photoshopped in a Ravens jersey. And all these Ravens fans are like, yes, bring him in, do it. We want him here. And I don't get it. Have you not been paying attention to football the past, 3 years? This dude is insane. Calling him a head case doesn't even begin to describe how just, I don't even know, how on earth would you want him on your team? It doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. I don't get it. I truly just don't understand why anybody in their right mind would look at Antonio Brown and say, yeah, I want that guy on my team. For sure. Bring him in. Okay. I'm not a fan of signing Antonio Brown, but hey, the more power to you. For whoever the team is, whatever team signs Antonio Brown. I hope it works out for you, because I seriously doubt it will.